salary will be cut or something like that. But beaver away or plug away is positive, really. These ones are positive, and it means that you're working hard. It's the same thing as slog away or slave away, but it sounds like it's a good thing that you're working hard. So all students ought to beaver away before their exams, yeah? They ought to knuckle down or buckle down. Now, this one's more neutral, but again, it's the same. If you knuckle down or buckle down, you start working hard, okay? If you fling yourself into your studies, it basically means you bury yourself in your books. You start applying yourself to your studies with maximum enthusiasm and maximum effort. So flinging yourself into your studies or into your work, it could be at work, it means you start working as hard as you can and enthusiastically. Now, if you have a project, you ought to see it through, which means keep going, don't give up, and complete the project, yeah? To see it through to the end. You see a project through to the end. You complete the project. So it's very positive to see something through. You ought to see through all your projects, otherwise you're a quitter. You give up at the first hurdle. Now, if you step aside, this basically means step down, and you ought to remember that one, because step down means resign, but step aside means step down in order that somebody else takes your position. So if the Deputy Prime Minister steps aside, perhaps it's in the middle of a scandal, and he steps aside in order to let somebody else take his position, it means he steps down to let someone take his position, to let someone take his job. So very similar, but there's always got to be someone waiting when you say step aside to fill your shoes. Now, if you get bogged down in work, you get bogged down in a project or get bogged down with work, that means get bogged down, it sounds like you're stuck in the mud. When you get a bog, is a muddy swamp. And so if you are bogged down with work, it means you are snowed under. Very similar to be snowed under. And this one means to be really busy. To have loads and loads and loads of work, to be snowed under. Very similar to get bogged down. To get bogged down at work, it would mean that you've got loads and loads and loads of work. And so you're slogging away, you're slaving away. Now, if you are not cut out for something, it means you are not up to doing it. You're not capable of doing it when you're not cut out for something. So I am not cut out for a marathon. I already know that I'm not capable of doing that. Well, perhaps I would be with a lot of training, but I don't even fancy doing that. I don't feel up to doing a marathon, and so I'm not going to. I like sport, by the way. I do enjoy football. I play football on Mondays, and I certainly feel up to doing that. I'm certainly cut out for that, but it's only 1 hour. It's 2 games for half an hour, and I'm certainly capable of running around for an hour, and I think it's very good to do so as well. It keeps you fit. Now, if you cobble something together, you might cobble together an essay with a few different ideas. It means put something together, to cobble something together. So, yeah, basically put something together, but you could use it with essays. You could cobble together an essay, but you might cobble together a plan or some kind of draft. You could cobble together a draft or a plan or anything like that which you're putting together, maybe for work, maybe for school. Now, if you pack in your job or jack in your job, you resign. So that's a nice easy one. It just means resign. You step down, you resign. This step down and step aside are very formal. Pack and jack your job in are very informal. It's what you'd say to your friends down the pub, but, you know, I've decided to pack in my job, it's annoying me. Maybe you decide to pack it in because the boss keeps passing you over for promotion. So to get passed over for promotion means to be forgotten, to not be promoted. Somebody else got the promotion. So that might cause you to pack the job in. Now, if you call out a plumber or you call out an electrician, it sounds like you have a plumbing emergency or an electrical emergency. And so you call out the plumber, you call out the electrician for emergency support, for aid, for assistance, for help as soon as possible. But remember that it has got a second meaning. To call someone out on their mistakes is to bring their mistakes to their attention. It's to notice their mistakes and tell them their mistakes. So quite a few people call me out on my mistakes on these videos. They write them underneath, and if I'm in a particularly good mood and it's a very clearly written sentence, I'll hold my hands up and say, yes, I am mistaken, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right, thank you for calling me out on my mistake. But if I'm in a bad mood, I might just delete the comment and ban you from the channel. I'm quite unfair in that sense. Okay, you get off work at a certain time. You knock off work at a certain time. It means you finish work. That's all. You get off work, you knock off work. Quite common, often used for work, but it could be used for school. The kids knock off school at 3:30. So just finish those two. When you hand something in, it means that you have a document or a piece of homework which has to be handed to the relevant authority. So homework has to be handed in to the teacher, usually. But if you're applying for a visa, you might have to hand your documents in to the visa centre, or you might have to hand in some documents to the embassy. Could be either. Now, if you ease off, you slow down or relax in some kind of way. If you say that sales of ice cream ease off in the winter, it means that sales of ice cream decrease. There aren't so many. There's not such a big market. But you could also say he eased his foot off the accelerator, meaning that he took his foot slowly off the accelerator and started to slow down. But you could say the rain is starting to ease off, or the traffic is starting to ease off. So it can be used in a lot of different ways to ease off, and it basically means to be reduced, or to quieten down, or to relax in some kind of way. If you go through a divorce or get through a divorce, I mentioned this in the previous class, it means that if you get through it, you've finished going through it, and if you go through it, you're just in the process. But get always means to finish in some kind of way. So yeah, you get through it, and you're finished. All of the details of the contract have been ironed out, they've been firmed up, and that means that you're now officially divorced. You've finished it. But go through would mean to be in the process of a difficulty. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be used with divorces. It can be used with anything that's difficult. You can get through your exams. Some of you may be still going through a difficult period in your life for one reason or another. So it could be with any difficult period. These two, though, are very often used with exams. If you scrape through your exams, you only just pass. Only just. You're a borderline pass. But if you sail through them, you pass with flying colours, we say. You get really good marks. Now, if the teacher marks you down, it means that you do something wrong, and for that reason, you get a much lower mark. So, I mean, I think students very often get marked down for mistakes. Of course they do. In written essays, usually it's mistakes that will mark you down more than anything. You know, the teacher will mark you down due to your mistakes more than anything else. Content is important as well, but it's secondary really. Try never to make mistakes when you're writing English essays, otherwise you will be marked down. Fall behind. Students fall behind in their subject when they're not doing their homework, or maybe they're off for a few weeks because they have a holiday or they have an injury, and then they might fall behind the rest of the class, in which case they need to catch up with their schoolmates, with their classmates. So you don't want to fall behind really. You want to stay at the same level as everybody else. Now, if you read something quickly, you skim through the book, you leaf through the pages, you flick through the articles, you thumb through the questions, whatever it is that you're reading quickly, you can do all of those with any kind of paper document or book or exam or anything like that. If you've got a list, you can tick the names off, you can cross the names off, you can check the names off. All of those mean to basically, you know, this or this or this. Something like that. It's just put a symbol next to the name. So when the teacher takes the register, they check the names off, they tick the names off, they cross the names off. They reel off the names, first of all. Don't forget, reel off means to say a list of names or a list of countries or a list of dates. You reel off a list. And then you tick the names off or cross the names off or